Ladies and gentlemen, now it's Too Late with Alan Mosley.
Woo! Yeah!
Wow.
Nice. I like it. Guys,
Yeah.
welcome back for another episode of It's Too Late. Am I slurring my words? You hear that?
I didn't catch it.
Good God.
I'm
Why am I
fatigued.
asking you? You haven't watched this show in 2 years. Guys, welcome back for another episode of It's Too Late. I am your host, Alan Mosley, joined as always by the number one producer in late night. It's Dave Wolomowski. Dave! Dave, how you doing, buddy?
Oh. Hey, Lyle. I'm doing good. I've already got 36 hours in for the week since Monday, so
Woo!
making some Christmas money.
Yeah.
But I'm actually doing pretty good, all things considered. How are you doing, Alan?
But what did you do for the opposite of the 36 hours? What do you do when you're not at work? Do you just sit on the edge of your bed like the
Wait
dude
for
from
work.
Sling Blade and just wait for the sun to rise so that you can start again?
Yeah, I don't sleep. I wait. No,
Yeah.
I try to get things done. Maybe do a little grocery shopping, cook myself some dinner.
So you do work.
some-
You just work again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I work more, and I play Need for Speed with Chris.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's all right. But you can
Yeah.
play Need for Speed in real life.
Oh, I do. That's how.
Yeah, that's what I do
work.
for a living, actually. I finally got a call from my boss. Because they can see all the data from
Oh,
when when something is checked off. It sends the coordinates, and so that's how they can kind of without having a tracking device, they can track
Mhm.
your progress.
Yeah.
And they can be like, "Wow, you did 8 hours of work in 3.5 hours."
what's your secret?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing, though, right? It's because on the one hand, they're like, "Okay, Alan, we can't have you do that," but then they're like, "Hey, good job,"
Good job. Yeah.
because we got got stuff to do, you
Mhm.
know.
You can take more packages.
Speaking of stuff to do, you can see here in the studio, it's almost Christmas time. We're putting up the decorations, and they're also
yeah.
putting up the decorations at the White House. But bad news, ladies and gentlemen, the White House Christmas tree has blown over by a gust of wind. Take a look at this right here. What are we going to do? Christmas has fallen.
Oh,
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
no good.
the little trees
big
are
tree.
okay apparently, and I don't know what Arizona has to do with it, but yeah, there they are using a crane to pick their tree back up. Doesn't it kind of seem like they would turn the lights off while they're working on it?
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't-
yeah,
I don't
plug it.
know. Yeah,
Oh.
I don't know. Because doesn't that mean there's something plugged in while they're yanking it around with a crane, right?
Oh, yeah. It does.
Okay, all right. I was just wondering. That just goes to show you that old Bill O'Reilly from Fox News was right. Christmas under attack. Nativity displays, religious songs targeted.
Oh,
my
oh
God.
man.
Wait, hold on. Can you pull that picture back up again?
Yeah.
Look at the eyes. My God. you,
They're weird. They're a little weird.
you know what those eyes remind me of, don't you? Of the SpongeBob meme. You know.
Oh.
Yeah. They're right there.
Oh, he's mock bobbing.
Oh, wait, hold on. What? He's what?
Yeah. Mock bob.
What?
Oh, the SpongeBob meme. I always think of the mock bob with the upper and lowercase letters, but I think that's the wrong meme. That's
yeah.
the wrong meme.
No. That's yeah. It's the same one, but I don't know. I didn't know if you were doing a SpongeBob reference. I've never actually watched the show. I only know the memes. I don't know anything else.
So you were never a line cook, huh? That's what got me into it. Yeah.
No,
We
I
have a
wasn't.
lot in common.
Okay, all right. In sports news tonight, UFC featherweight Charles Jourdain is set to take on Sean Woodson at UFC 297. That's January 20th of next year. Jourdain has his work cut out for him, though, with Woodson. Here, take a look at the tail of the tape. Yeah, that's right. Woodson will have a 9-inch reach advantage against the 5'8" Jourdain, but Jourdain has a plan to tackle this challenge. He actually posted the strategy publicly on his own Twitter account. Take a look at this right here. For this fight, I am at disadvantage because of the reach. I will use the same strategy I used with my stepsister. Penetrate
Wow.
and dominate.
Wow.
That's a real tweet, by the way. Like, there's no, like, we don't have to make a joke. He
He did it. He did.
Yeah.
Did the
And-
joke.
Yeah, he knows what he did. Yeah. Wait, hold on. I know this is going to throw you for a loop because God knows you've never watched the show before. Can you go back to the tail of the tape? Can you go back to that?
Yeah.
No. See, I knew it would fuck you
Oh.
up. I knew it
Oh,
would
this
because
one.
you're so.
Yeah, that's too
no,
bad.
fuck it. Take it down.
Okay.
You ruined the whole bit. You fucking. I knew it would ruin you. I
It's not in the
literally
notes,
said,
man.
I know this is going to throw you off, but can you go back? Nope, you can't. You only go forward. You can't go backward.
There is no going back. Gone too far.
Wait, hold on. You can't.
See, I got the buttons labeled, and none of them.
Yeah.
Just says UFC.
Yeah, but when you're done with a button, you just delete it. You're done with it. You know. It's just
I actually
All
throw
right.
out the stream deck and get a new one.
all right. And finally this evening, Indianola Middle School in Indianola, Iowa, raised some eyebrows with one of their daily quote respect quotes of the day.
Oh.
Did you guys ever have anything like that when you were in school? Like they would come over the intercom and they would like read something motivational, or you have anything
I don't
that
think so.
you didn't?
Hell if I know. I don't
I mean,
remember
who
that.
am I? Who am I even asking? That's my fault. That one's on me. Which they read each morning over the intercom to the student body. The latest entry was quote, "My honor is my loyalty."
Oh.
It was attributed to a figure known to the plucky school administrator simply as Heinrich H.
Heinrich.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, you guessed it. The
Oh,
quote
that
is from
guy.
none other than Reichsfuhrer of the Nazi SS himself, Heinrich Himmler.
I've heard of him. Wow.
Boy, I did not see that coming.
Oh.
But there were a lot of red flags.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That admin is going to have to pay a hefty price. A whole Holocaust.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that.
I imagine she's going to want to go hide in a bunker after that.
Yeah. I guess that.
But she better drive safely, Don't go too hard on the gas.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So you think that's good?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's plenty.
Well, since we just did that, let me tell you about tonight's sponsor, which is Fox & Sons Coffee, which you can find at foxandsons.com. Use promo code ITL. You get 18% off orders.
Dang,
A
man,
20
18.
Hey, wait, hold on. Just really quick. Did you know that the other day I was on another person's program, and I won't say who it was, but I was on someone else's program, and they had an ad for Fox & Sons Coffee. But listen to this.
Whoa.
They got less percentage off than us.
Oh,
Code ITL is a bigger savings than
that's the
their
elite code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what other podcasts you listen to, but if you drink coffee, first of all, this is amazing.
It
Like,
is. Everybody
Fox
loves it.
It's everyone loves it. I've never heard anyone say,
Mhm.
But we get 18% off orders, $25 or more. Shipping's always free over. What is it, $37.99? I don't know. The graphic's not up, so how am I supposed to know this shit?
We were talking.
Okay, online at
$37.99.
foxandsons.com. I've actually got the dim blend light right here because, I understand that lighter is better. But you're more of a dark berry sort of fellow, aren't you, Dave?
Yeah, I love the darks.
So anyway, that's
Different
foxandsons.com. Hey, Dave. Hey, Dave.
Yeah. Yes, Alan?
What was Hitler's favorite TV show?
I have no idea.
The Amazing Race. Oh, the audience joined us tonight. How about that? Oh,
They
well.
showed up. We just woke up.
What was Hitler's least favorite planet?
I don't know.
Jupiter. Okay, guys, we're going to be back
Oh, man.
with the meme of the week and the viewer mail right after this commercial break. Don't go away. Oh. Yeah, let's just go over here really quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so why was there like a 40-minute wait in the commercial?
I don't know. Actually, the first part I kind of understood, but the end of it, why it was all screwed up, doesn't make any sense.
Okay. I was willing to accept responsibility for expecting you to remember anything. That one was on me, but this is back on you. This is a shit sandwich. You're the buns.
I am. I'm holding it all together.
All right. Let me tell you about tonight's other sponsor, which is the Tennessee Hot Sauce Company, which you can find at tnhotsauceco.com. Use promo code It's Too Late, all one word, It's Too Late. You get not only 10% off your order, but for a limited time, you'll get a little something extra.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Danny's words, not mine. So.
That's
a
probably good thing.
Have right here, this is the poblano jalapeno beef jerky. Can we get a shot of that, Dave? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. This is the beef jerky, brand new to the site. Apparently selling like crazy well, and it's like this bag is only like $8. Are you kidding me?
That ain't bad. Yeah, jerky can be expensive.
Yeah, dude, everything's expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I made the mistake of buying groceries this past weekend. I was saving so much more money when I just starved.
That's good for budget.
But now I can spend $8 and get some poblano jalapeno beef jerky from the Tennessee Hot Sauce Company, which you can find at tnhotsauceco.com. Use promo code It's Too Late. Hey, Dave.
Yes, Alan.
What time is it?
It's time for Meme of the Week.
Oh, brace yourself.
Oh no.
I may be low income, but I'll never be low income. You want to tell me why that said viewer mail? You know, you know what? We'll just ignore that it said that. But
yeah, that wasn't me. I don't think that.
You will soon take a risk that will pay off.
Oh. I'm nervous.
Yeah, I'm feeling it.
I hope that one's not a...
See, I was willing to take the risk even if it didn't pay off. But now... now I'm in.
It's encouraging you.
Yeah, I'm in. But we do have an animated bonus meme. Check out the animated bonus meme.
Gay. Homo, you faggot.
So you're a queer, aren't you?
Fag, queer, faggot.
What are you, a fag?
Wow. That was aggressive.
I'm trying to figure out, so did that happen all in one day, or is it a different bully each day?
You know? Yeah. Because, all in one day, that's going to...
Obviously, just don't...
affect on you.
Obviously, just don't, drive an electric car. Then we won't have this problem. I mean, should we even... should we even go on at this point?
Happen.
All right. I'll tell you what's going to happen. We're going to answer some viewer mail. Queer! Heard you have one of them Kia Souls. I don't know. Andrew Avery writes, Dear Alan and Dave, if you caught me eating glue and I asked you not to tell anybody, would your lips be sealed?
Right. See, I'm like, well, they're not eating glue, so why would their lips be sealed? Or me, I'm not. I don't know.
But that's like it must be weird up in Maine.
It is.
Okay.
I think it's all the moose.
I think it's just they just don't see the sun ever, and you just kind of,
I've seen that on TV. I've seen like there's towns and places like like whatever, like Iceland or Greenland or whatever, where they have darkness for months at a time.
Oh yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, that sounds neat.
Yeah, I'm kind of into that. I'm not solar powered.
Yeah, I kind of want to go there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I also saw on YouTube is there's this guy that makes these videos where he'll build shelters out in the woods just using like his bare hands and whatever.
What's laying around.
And it'll in the video will be like, I survived in the woods in negative 32-degree weather without a tent or without, whatever. And so he'll build this shelter. And it'll be a bunch of logs laid over some other logs built into a hill, and now he's got like a little one-room thing, and he's got it made where he's got his little campfire, and the smoke goes out the little thing, and he's got like a little lean-to door with branches, and every time they're done, it's like it's actually quite comfortable, and look at the thermometer, it's 68 degrees inside here, and I always leave the video thinking I'd like to just kind of move in, just live there.
Yeah,
I mean, not at night once in the woods, just permanently.
Also makes me wonder how many dead YouTubers are out in the woods that weren't good at that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, probably the ones that don't have enough subscribers. So if you guys are watching this right now, be sure to like and subscribe. And
oh yes, please.
Yeah, because if this thing doesn't work out, then me and Dave have to go see if we can build a shelter in the woods by nightfall when it's negative 32 degrees.
I think we could do it.
I'm sure we could build one. Doesn't mean we'll survive, but
no, definitely won't survive. But
no, but see, I was in for it the whole time though. Like you'll be panicking in the end, missing everyone, your loved ones. You'll see me and I'll be as content as I've ever looked.
Yeah. Everything's going according to plan.
That actually probably will freak you out even more, won't it? You're like, why are you so happy?
Why do you look so comfortable?
Oh man, I saw somebody's. There was a meme. Of course, it's a Ryan Gosling meme because every meme now has Ryan Gosling in it. And the top text was, YOLO, you only live once, and the bottom text was, thank fucking God. All right. Chris Melyard writes, Dear Alan and Dave, that fancy little ball cost over $2 billion to build. He's talking about the thing from the viewer mail post. Apparently that cost $2 billion.
That's insane.
If you had $2 billion to build anything, what would it be and where? I think Dave and I would just build a shelter out in the woods for free using our hands and then just keep $2 billion.
Yeah. But then we're dead. We'll bury it, though.
I mean, I don't know who we is. I'm fine.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm afraid there's going to be like a Star Wars situation where you cut me open and sleep inside of me for warmth. Oh, boy.
Would you like that, Dave?
No.
Would you like me inside of you?
I do. I was setting myself up.
Yeah, okay.
As the words were coming out of my mouth, yeah.
It's not the only thing coming at you.
Oh my God.
Celeste Annis writes, "Dear, this episode really turned not safe for work."
It's a roller coaster.
Celeste Annis writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, what remake of a song do you prefer to the original?" Is there a remake that you like more than the original?
Did we answer this before? I feel like because I said that the Alien Ant Farm, the Smooth Criminal.
This does sound like something we've answered before because I remember you saying something just goddamn retarded like that. Yeah.
Because I couldn't think of anything else.
Yeah. Well, see, a lot of people.
Pennywise did a pretty good Stand By Me.
You have the worst taste in music of anyone I've ever known.
I'm all over the place. Very eclectic.
No, that's what people with bad taste tell themselves. But my tastes are eclectic.
Yeah. You wouldn't understand.
You like having people inside. Aaron Kittner writes, Dear Alan and Dave, what is the worst? What is the worst gift you ever got for Christmas? Dave, the worst gift you ever got for Christmas.
Oh. Worst gift.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's not really bad ones. Oh, my
Oh.
sister doesn't watch this. My sister got me this like big glass, like tray bowl thing, and
Mm-hmm.
no idea what to do with it. It's like big, so
Mm-hmm.
it takes up space.
Yeah.
I can't remember what happened to that. Yeah, that's the only thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
It was like swirly painted and
Yeah.
weirdly shaped.
One time, I think it was my aunt, but she only did it at the behest of my mother. Because it was like she's going to get me a Christmas present. She doesn't know what to get me. So my mom tells her this is what he needs. Got me a box of strawberry Pop-Tarts.
That's what you needed.
Which, okay, but it goes way deeper than that. Because I don't like strawberry Pop-Tarts.
Oh.
Like I actually hate them. I hate them a lot. The only Pop-Tarts I ever even remotely liked was blueberry. Strawberry was awful. So then now you're to the next layer of the onion of my mom told her to get strawberry. So does that mean my mom wanted me to have a terrible Christmas, or that my mom doesn't know me? It could be both.
I'm hoping.
Could be both. Could be both. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking it was the second, the latter.
Yeah. Go ahead and put that in your notes for me.
Yeah, I got the notebook.
In my file, yeah. Justin Campbell writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, what's the more entertaining bad movie genre? Hallmark holiday movies or B horror movies?"
Oh, come on.
I mean, that has to be the B horror movies, right? Because the Hallmark movies aren't entertaining at all.
Wait, are we picking which one's worse?
No, which one's more entertaining? Do you even listen to me when I talk?
I thought I read him earlier, and I thought he asked which was worse.
Okay, so you read it earlier, and you don't listen to me talk.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna get me
B-movies,
strawberry Pop-Tarts for Christmas. I know it.
It's in the notebook.
I know you're gonna do it, and I'm never
From
gonna.
what I caught,
I'm never gonna speak to you ever again. I'm gonna expect you to be here on the show, but I'm never gonna speak to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be awkward.
Yeah, over the course of weeks and months, you'll eventually go insane because I'm here looking, but I won't talk to you, and you'll start to internalize it, thinking, "Can he not hear me?" You know, but it doesn't matter. I'm not speaking to you.
Starting the show anyways. Oh, weird.
It has to be the B horror movies because they're always like they're low budget, but it's like endearingly
great.
low budget.
I love them.
Yeah, but the Hallmark movies are just awful.
No, yeah,
Yeah, they're the women in them are always mid, and if you find one, and it doesn't matter because you're not going to get any TNA anyway.
No,
It's a Hallmark movie.
just
for God's
feelings.
sakes. Yeah.
Like maybe somebody gets murdered, but
Hallmark movies are for single moms to convince them that they haven't ruined their lives.
oh, there's still a chance.
There's not.
Ugh.
There's not. All right. Wilderio writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, are we going to have a cold winter this year?" Are we going to have a cold winter this year?
Well, as far back as I can remember, it got pretty cold every winter, so I'm going to say yeah, it's going to be colder this winter.
It's going to be colder. So it's
Than
going to
it
be
is,
colder.
like, summer.
Well, that's not what he asked.
Yes, if it's going to be cold.
You're out of the rest of the segment. I'm pulling
All
the plug on you. This is ridiculous. You don't listen. You don't read them. It's ridiculous. I actually think we're going to have a mild winter because it's like I've been wearing shorts within the last week. So I think it's going to be.
I thought you said you were in like the 30s or something.
I said within the last. I swear to. Didn't I just say you're out of the segment?
Okay.
God damn it. All right. He just does it now because he. Don't encourage him. All right. Sean Hatchie writes, I know there was a reason I no-showed every live event but one. That's
Okay.
not a question. But also, yeah, Sean Hatchie was here. You guys weren't, but Sean Hatchie was here.
I haven't seen him.
It's kind of weird. He was here one time. Yeah, he was hanging out with other people, and then like at the very end, he's like, "Oh, hey, I'm Sean Hatchie," and I'm like, "Is that supposed to mean something?" Or and he hasn't come back. It's weird. Patricia Marie writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, would you go back to MySpace?" Dave, did you have a MySpace? Did you have-
Yeah. I had a
Ooh,
MySpace. I can't get into it anymore. I
What
forgot
was
the
your
password.
anthem? What was your song?
Ooh, I think I can't think of the name of the rap group. It was some like 80s rap. I don't even know what it was.
Okay. All right, Mary, just take note. He doesn't remember when you guys got married, but he does remember the rap song on his MySpace from 30
Yeah, I
years
can't
ago.
think of it,
Just use that information. However, you know. Perfect timing. Mary Lynn
cool.
Wilimowski writes, Dear Alan and Dave,
Uh-oh.
how long does an article of clothing in your closet/dresser go untouched before you finally decide to donate it? Been hanging on to some stuff too long, Dave?
I'll tell you, there is no time limit on holding on to clothes that you like, and that maybe it'll come back into style,
Mhm.
Like, it's all cyclical. Like, you wish your parents had the cool 70s stuff, for Halloween or something, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, I'm going to keep it as long as I want, because maybe I'll get skinny again, too. So,
Ooh. Okay. Yeah, it's Mary, it's his stuff.
Mhm.
Let him have something.
I think it's because we share a closet, and
Yeah. Mary,
take up
Dave
most
was
of it.
on here during the pre-show, and he was the whole time was talking about how he doesn't have anything that's his own anymore. Not in the last, how many years was it? 17 years, whatever it was. He's like, I just need something for me. And you just want to take it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mary says Dave has more clothes in the closet than me. Okay, let's revisit that later. Ryan Seifert writes, Dear Alan and Dave, why does Santa give shitty toys to poor kids? Because they're shitty kids.
Oh.
Mhm.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be poor.
Yeah. Poor people are lesser,
Maybe they get stolen. Maybe he leaves nice stuff, but it gets stolen
Yeah, I wonder why that is.
or fenced by their parents or something.
Fenced?
Yeah, like
You
isn't that what they call
have
it?
to have a fence to sell like a tricycle? They're not getting like anyway. And finally tonight, Gary Dykstra writes, Dear Alan and Dave, which is the superior cartoon, Rick and Morty or King of the Hill? I've never even watched Rick and Morty.
It's fun. I love Rick and Morty.
And apparently they fired the guy. Like they fired the voice actor
for
guy.
some false allegations.
And so that automatically King of the Hill.
Wow. Have you ever seen King of the Hill?
I have seen King of the Hill. Yeah.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's all right. I didn't know until long after the show that Luann was Brittany Murphy.
No way. I still don't know. Well, till now. If I listened.
And then Brittany Murphy died.
Whoa.
Yeah, she's dead. Yeah. Because I would have, Brittany Murphy, I would have. Should we wait for the commercial break until you're done Googling, or should we move on?
No, okay. I think I've seen her before.
Okay, she was in Sin City. She was just tits number 6 in that movie, but it's fine though. Okay, guys, we're gonna be back with this month's installment of Sports Ball with Mike and Alan right after this commercial break. Don't go away. Your ad could be playing right now, reaching thousands of potential customers. Sadly, it's not, but it could be. Find out how to be an advertised sponsor for It's Too Late with Alan Mosley. Email us at info@alanmosley.tv.
Attention, armchair quarterbacks and shower thought GMs. It's time for this week's episode of Sports Ball with Mike Maharrey and Alan Mosley.
You know, I always get a little tingle when I hear that music.
I know you do. I do too. You know, I couldn't decide if it was time for our monthly episode, and I looked back at the last one on YouTube, and it said streamed 1 month ago.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Guys, welcome back for another episode of SportsBall. I am your host, Alan Mosley, joined as always by my good friend and Tampa Bay sports superfan. It's Mike Maharrey. Mike, what are you wearing today? Well, it is Tampa Bay.
It is, yeah.
Wow.
I'm honoring my really, really bad football team that we have here in Tampa Bay. I almost wore I bought one of the old Bucko Bruce hats. I almost wore it just because that's pretty much what they're playing like.
Hey, that team's on the bubble.
You're right. You're right.
All right. Guys, we're going to start off the episode the way we always do with some shit announcers say.
Constantly spanking him.
You need 1 yard. Run the ball. Run the ball. CT. He's triggered. All he has to do is run the football.
Tyreek Hill, they move him into the backfield and get that matchup against the safety Whitehead.
Ooh, he got married during the bye week. Sanders for the extra point. I hope that's his wife he tossed it to. We'll find out.
Constantly spanking him.
So it is a
Last 2 games.
Constantly spanking him.
A lot of that.
Yeah.
What? Well, that's another thing. I worked 7 years with John Madden, and we had turducken.
Oh, yeah.
I might have to duck this.
You got brown on brown crime right up top.
Constantly spanking him.
Offside, defense number 56. Sorry about that. It's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, and it's still third down.
Pass interference, defense number 2.
Well, he said number 2, which was the offensive player, and he pointed to the defense.
Pass
here.
interference, offense
There we go.
number 2. 10-yard penalty. We play third down.
Constantly spanking him.
We saw him coming off and had to put it in his mouth and try and cool.
We have seen that pose and that look on Robert Saleh's face for the majority of the night.
Yeah,
He's steaming right now.
he is so hot inside.
Constantly spanking him.
And there's our friend Troy Aikman with the closeted comment once again.
Alan, I've got a puck to the head for today. I think I would have done the bromance.
Yeah, you should have done the bromance. I'm sorry.
That was bad. But I've got a real puck to the head, and I don't really quite know who to shoot it at. So maybe you can help me out with this. So Corey Perry, he's a veteran NHL player, actually played with the Lightning the past 2 seasons. Been in the league for a long time, considered a great locker room guy, kind of a character guy. And this is why the Chicago Blackhawks signed him to a $4 million deal in the offseason. Now, the Hawks had the number 1 draft pick, and they grabbed up Connor Bedard, who is hockey's next wonder kid. And I do mean kid. He's 18 years old and playing on the Blackhawks first line as a rookie. So Perry was supposed to come in. He's supposed to be kind of a mentor and a father figure for Bedard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a week or so ago, Perry just kind of mysteriously disappeared from the team. They were on a road trip in Columbus, practice in the morning, nowhere to be seen. Nobody says anything. The next thing you know, the Hawks are saying he's not with the team anymore, and it was a team decision. His agent saying, no, he's dealing with some personal issues. It was his decision to leave. Bottom line is really no explanation given for Perry's absence. And so you can imagine the rumor mill popped or cranked up immediately. And word on the street is that Perry banged Bedard's mom during the team mom trip. Yeah. So if it's true, and I have no idea if it is or not, he took being a father figure to Connor. Maybe he took that just a little too literally. The memes for this are glorious, by the way.
I don't know. I feel like the franchise deserves the puck to the head, because what kind of franchise signs players thinking we need a father figure for our draft picks? What?
Yeah, I kind of get that too. But anyway, so yesterday, the Blackhawks actually waived Perry with the intention of terminating his contract, and he cleared waivers today. So they're going to basically just cut him loose. And they still haven't said really what the deal is. The official statement was predictably vague. They said that he engaged in conduct that is unacceptable and in violation of both the terms of his standard player's contract and Blackhawks' internal policies intended to promote professional and safe work environments. Now, just reading that statement, entirely plausible that he banged the kid's mom. I'm just saying. But the reports are kind of that the incident involved a team employee. I don't know if you call Bedard's mom an employee, and that it occurred in Columbus. So yesterday, Blackhawks GM Kyle Davidson tried to quash the rumor and said this does not involve any player or their families, and anyone who suggests otherwise is wildly inaccurate, and it's frankly disgusting. And he's right about that.
Well, Mike, of course it's an employee because being a mom is a full-time job.
Full-time job. There you go. So, I don't know. If Perry did do the nasty with Bedard's mom, he definitely deserves a puck to the head because you don't do that.
Well, speaking of other things that you don't do, I also have a puck to the head, but we're going the wrong direction from which way yours went. Let's talk a little bit about Josh Giddey, guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder. This kid, I shouldn't call him a kid. He's a man. He's 21 years old, doing pretty well in his rookie season in the NBA, but rumors going around that he may have had an improper engagement with a 17-year-old minor.
Yeah, since she looks 17.
Yeah, she looks every bit of 17 too. He looks like a fucking anyway. The police have opened an inquiry after days of seemingly there was going to be no issue with his impropriety. He's still with the team. He's still starting. Hasn't been taken out of the lab. But police in California have opened up an inquiry into his activities. Now, for people at home that are wondering, well, wait a minute. Let me Google real quick. What's the age of consent in Oklahoma? In the Sooner State, apparently the age of consent is 16. But let me just stop you right there before you wipe your brow and say all is well. This is a lesson to the young men out there that might in the audience that might be listening. Guys, if you're having to Google what the age of consent is in a state, she's too young.
Boom.
She's too young.
I enjoy that the team is sponsored by Loves.
All right. Anyway, on that news, it's time for us to go on an epic quest in this week's
Adventures in Officiating.
This is from the Tennessee Vanderbilt game this past weekend. Now, the game itself, oh my
Yikes.
goodness. You see a flag on the field, quarterback Swan for Vanderbilt getting just decked in the lower back, but apparently it was supposed to be a dead ball. Well, what's the penalty? The penalty is a false start. Well, wait a minute, Mike. If it's a false start, there's no play.
Right.
Well, why is he getting decked, and why isn't the UT player being penalized for roughing the quarterback? By the way, as you pointed out, look the way he walks back like, look what I just did, you guys. Needless to say, Vanderbilt coach Clark Lee is a little upset. Very next play, 3rd and 19. Getting drugged down by 2 defenders, ripping for the ball. Referees are just kind of standing around. Oh, here comes the pushing and shoving. But wait just a minute. There's another flag on the field. Wait a minute. Well, what's this flag? You see a replay of the play right here. This poor guy getting decked again. By the way, he would go on to not finish the game with a back injury. I know you're shocked to hear that.
I'm shocked.
The second penalty was a delay of game. Okay, hold on. A delay of game is a dead ball penalty. If there's no play, then why is the quarterback being allowed to be trucked by multiple defenders? Now, you see right here at this point, Vanderbilt coach Clark Lee is livid. And, of course, what happens?
He gets the flag.
He gets the flag. He gets a 15-yard personal foul. Yes, that's right. He's actually being held back by state police right there. That is actually happening on the field. He gets a 15-yard penalty for saying, and I'm going to paraphrase, if it had been their quarterback, would you have thrown an effing flag? That's a legit question with what we just saw on the field.
Yeah.
He has every right to be upset. Now, of course, after multiple penalties and the 15-yarder on the coach, look, the drive's over. It's 3rd and 39. What's Vandy going to do? We're just going to run a draw. We're going to get ready to punt, right? But this is just the beginning. You see fights breaking out literally all over the field. Flags are coming out. There's towels on the ground. Helmets are rolling across the field. Here come the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Yep, almost all of them.
Almost the entire bench clears heading towards the Tennessee sideline. Now, if you want to be generous and say that they're just trying to break up the fight, I think you're probably being a little bit too generous.
Right.
But now, this is the predictable response of what happens when an officiating crew completely loses control of the game.
Yep, absolutely.
Should Vanderbilt's bench have cleared in this situation? Of course it shouldn't.
No.
There is one thing that I do want to point out since we're on that topic. The NCAA rule clearly states that if any players leave the bench area to enter into an altercation already taking place on the field, those players are ejected from the game. It's not a 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out type situation. Of course, what do the referees do? They're going to do the mealy mouth thing of calling penalties on both teams, and we're going to say they offset. Remarkably, nobody was ejected for fighting, even though we also know that yanking helmets and throwing haymakers are also automatic ejections. No players were ejected, Mike Maharrey. In fact, there wasn't even a sideline warning given to Vanderbilt.
Wow.
Not even a sideline warning.
Oh my gosh.
So you're going to see in the video right here, freeze frame, you can maybe count a half a dozen Vanderbilt players who would not be ejected.
Yeah, they're all the guys that are thinking, hey, maybe we'll get in the game now.
So it absolutely was fouled up from start to finish. But Mike Maharrey, if we just saw how an officiating crew can completely lose control of a game, how should the officials have handled it?
Well, I've got a great example, Alan. Recent game this week between the Florida Panthers and the Ottawa Senators. And here you'll see Brady Tkachuk come out of the penalty box and, bangs into the goalie. Now, that's always going to draw attention, as you see here. And this is pretty typical. You get these scrums, especially if you touch another team's goalies. This one's pretty intense. I mean, you've got gloves dropping and sticks flying. You got refs in there. You know, they're trying to break things up. Trying, yeah. This is, by the way, Brady's grandma. She seems unpleased by the entire situation. And incidentally, his brother also was in this game. He plays for the Panthers. Now, what's a little bit unusual here, though, is normally you'll see these scrums and they'll settle down. You can kind of see it settling down there. That's Brady's brother, by the way. And so, you know, it looks like everything's kind of wound down a little bit. Everything's cool. But, oh, no, we're going to go again. And so the melee continues, right? We've got another breakout of violence. And I think it actually kind of revs up one more time. So basically what you've got here, you've got the refs. They're in there. They're trying to keep these guys separated. They're trying to keep it from being a whole line brawl, as they would call it. And they're doing a fair job. But here's the thing. You've got a 4-0 score. There's 7 minutes left in the third period. This is a recipe for absolute disaster in a hockey game. Here you're seeing a replay of him running the goalie, which, by the way, you can't do that. And he ended up getting a penalty for goalie interference on this. But this is a recipe for disaster. You've got 7 minutes left in this game. There's no way that the Senators are going to come back and win. Typically, when you have a situation like this, the refs lose control. You're going to see fights all the way to the end of the game, maybe high sticks, rough stuff. So the ref solves the problem. He gives everybody on the ice a 10-minute misconduct.
Wow.
Yep. So basically, everybody that was on the ice, other than the two goalies, they're done. So they go to the locker room, and that diffuses the situation because all of the hotheads are in the showers, and you've only got about half the team left to finish out the game anyway. So, yeah, I think, I kind of like the old days. There you see the team. And this looks like a beer league game at 11:30 at night when nobody wants to show up.
Plenty of room on the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. So, good example of refs getting control. Not like the old days when the enforcers would have taken care of this, but since they've basically taken out of hockey, you got to give kudos to the officials for diffusing the situation. The game basically ended uneventfully, although Florida did end up scoring on the power play, so it ended up being 5-0. But, yeah, good job on the refs there. So some good adventures in officiating for a change.
So what you're saying is Vandy's entire team should have been ejected for being upset that they were being screwed.
Well, see, that just compounded and compounded.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to move on to this week's discussion topic, which is we're coming down to the playoff push. The NFL season's end draws nigh. We're going to start with the AFC playoffs. Let's take a look at the teams that are in the hunt and the teams that are on the bubble. I don't know if it's really fair to say that the Ravens and Chiefs are in the hunt. I think it's pretty safe to say that they're going to most likely win their divisions and most likely finish somewhere in the area of 1-2 in the standings. Yeah. You currently have the Jaguars at number 3. Now they are coming off a big win over a hot Texans team. If they maintain their hold as the leader of the division, then they're definitely going to be up there. They currently have the tiebreaker over the Miami Dolphins. If you're wondering why the Jacksonville Jaguars are ahead of the Dolphins, you can thank tiebreakers. But the same thing for the Dolphins, though. They are like two or three games up now at this point on the Bills. They've got control of the division, so I mean it would take a complete collapse to not be talking about those teams.
Right.
But let's move on a little bit from there. You can see the current wild card team: Steelers, Browns, Colts. Let's talk a little bit about that NFC North. You've got the Steelers and the Browns. The Steelers being led by Kenny Pickett. This is a defense that's been fantastic, an offense that basically doesn't exist. And of course, here I am making fun of them, but they have a winning record, and if the season ended today, they'd be in the playoffs. You also have the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, of course, are coming off of a 3-point loss to that Steelers team, in case you're still wondering if they belong. I think arguably the Browns have had a better roster. Unfortunately, their quarterback, Deshaun Watson, is out for the year.
Yep.
Now, they have won a game since that time, so it's not like that they've gone winless ever since. But it seems like these paths are already starting to diverge. So we'll start there, taking again Ravens at number 1, Steelers and Browns 5 and 6. Do the Steelers and Browns belong in the playoffs, or only one or neither?
Neither one of them are great football teams. I think given the parity in the NFL that we're seeing today, I mean, I guess they deserve to be in, but do you really want to see mediocre football teams in the playoffs? And this goes back to what we talked about the last sports ball, this kind of trend towards the NFL likes to call it parity, but we call it mediocrity. I'm not sure it's the kind of playoff football that you want to see, but I do think that one of those teams will probably end up in the playoffs. I'd say Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's trajectory is a little bit stronger than Cleveland's, but
well, Cleveland is coming off
them to stay around long. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, Cleveland's coming off a blowout loss to the Broncos, which we'll get to them in a second. But you kind of feel like the Steelers in my heart of hearts, I say they don't really belong in the playoffs.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is they're a couple of games up on the field for the final spots. They just beat one of those other competitors, and Kenny Pickett is Kenny Pickett alive better than Deshaun Watson dead?
Well, and I will give them this. Pittsburgh fires their offensive coordinator, and then the following week, Pickett suddenly looks like a better quarterback. So
yeah. So I kind of agree with that I'm feeling like Steelers in. I mean, the Browns are technically in today, but we'll see if that holds.
Right.
We'll take a look at that AFC South we mentioned earlier. Of course, the Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. You feel like that the AFC South is a weak division, and you feel like the Jaguars are only in because they're leading a weak division. But the Jaguars are 8-3. The Jaguars are 8-3. The only team that they trail in terms of wins and losses is the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
They're an 8-3 team, and they have some quality wins. However, they don't have the division sewed up yet. But that AFC South division, I feel like 4 weeks ago you would have said the AFC South sucks. I wish none of them can get in. And yet right now 2 teams are in, and the third team is the first team out. Yeah. This division may suddenly go from wow, 1 team gets in automatically to wow, 3 teams got in.
Oh, that would be so weird.
If the Steelers and Browns go on losing streaks, the AFC South, the quote-unquote worst division in the AFC, gets 3 teams in. How about that?
And again, I watched the Colts a little bit this weekend when they played the Bucs. And if it wasn't for the Bucs shooting themselves in the foot, the Colts would have lost that game. So, again, not a great football team that we're talking about here, and yet we're looking at them potentially having a playoff berth.
Yeah, that's the thing is that you feel like a Colts team that just came off having a high draft pick, which that draft pick went out like in a few weeks with a season-ending injury. They've been led by Gardner Minshew. And Minshew mania aside, it's easy to make fun of, but the fact is that they're 6-5. They have the tiebreakers over right now. There's a 6-5 Texans, 6-5 Broncos, and 6-6 Bills. The Colts have tiebreakers over those teams right now.
Yeah.
So,
and the thing that the Colts can do, they can run the football.
See, this is how I can tell Mike Maharrey doesn't take sports ball as serious as me. You know he's out, right?
I did not know that.
It's one of these. He can't hold the football anymore. He's the next Joe Burrow. I'm healthy, but I can't hold on to a football anymore.
Oh boy.
So no, it is Minshew's team.
No, I said running the ball.
Well, they ain't gonna run the ball without Jonathan Taylor. So
he must have gotten hurt at the end of the Bucs game because he was giving the Bucs trouble.
Well, who doesn't give the Bucs trouble? We're gonna get to the Bucs in a second. No, Taylor actually undergoing thumb surgery. It's happening as we speak.
Okay.
Well,
so I'm behind the times.
So that's another one that if the season ended today, they're in. But what will the season look like in a few weeks? So fine, and also as an addendum to that, C.J. Stroud had Rookie of the Year wrapped up like 6 weeks ago. He's definitely got it now. If anything, you feel like that the Texans will overcome the Colts because the Texans are a more complete team and they didn't just lose their star running back for the year the way the Colts did. But the Texans have to win some more games. I mean, the Texans are 6-5, and you have a logjam. You have three 6-5 teams, a 6-6 team, a 5-6 team, and a 5-7 team. You
Parity,
can't afford
baby.
Parity. All right, finally, we're going to move on to a couple teams in the AFC that are currently on the outside looking in, but with perhaps differing trajectories. That is, of course, our friend Dave's Buffalo Bills.
Poor Dave.
And yeah, right. I mean, it's his fault for being a Bills fan. And, of course, Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. Now, someone who hasn't been paying to the season for very long would say, well, of course the Bills are going to get in because the Bills are one of the best teams in the AFC. Josh Allen's number one quarterback in the NFL. He's leading the NFL in touchdowns. How could that team not get in? Spoiler, he's also leading the league in turnovers. And vice versa. Look, Russell Wilson, he's washed, right? He can't play anymore. Last season clearly showed that that was the worst trade in the history of the NFL, Russell Wilson to the Broncos. And yet, from the moment that the Broncos were essentially counted out and the Sean Payton experiment with Russell Wilson was essentially over, they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs 19-8. Since then, they have won 5 straight games, including getting one back on the Chiefs, including beating the Buffalo Bills that are also in that picture right there. So same thing again for playoff seeding. The Bills are currently all the way down in 9th, and you have to be in the top 7. They're behind the Colts in tiebreakers, but they have the same record. But that's with 5 straight wins. This team was 1-5.
I know.
They were 1-5, and now they're 6-5. And they have the tiebreaker over the Bills. They just beat them.
Yeah.
So, do you think one, both, or neither of those teams get in?
I think one of them gets in.
Which one?
Obviously, I think Denver's going to get in. I really like the job that Peyton's doing with that team, and they're, you look at momentum and trending, and as you move into the post-Thanksgiving push. That's a team that's trending upward, and the Bills are definitely trending downward. I would not be shocked to see the Bills miss the playoffs.
Now, listen to this. The Broncos' next game is at the Texans. That's a tough game, but that's a game against a team that you need to have them lose in order to jump them in the standings. So who better to play?
Yeah.
They still have both games against the Chargers. They still have a Raiders game. They still have the Patriots, and then one game at the Lions. Fairly easy schedule.
Yeah, not too bad.
It's fairly easy schedule down the end, but of course, compare that to the poor Buffalo Bills' schedule. They have the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, they're coming off a heartbreaking loss to the Eagles. Did the Bills look much improved? Absolutely. but they still lost the game.
They lost.
They may be the most improved team over the last 5 weeks, but they can't afford to lose any more games.
Right.
Oh, a team that can't afford to lose any more games, they only play at Kansas City this week.
Mm-hmm.
Then they'll
they've
host
got the Dolphins again.
They'll host the Dallas Cowboys, and then after Chargers Pats, which the Broncos are also playing Chargers Pats, then they're at Miami. So a team that really can't afford to lose a single other game has Chiefs, Cowboys, Dolphins. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning Bronco. I'm kind of leaning Texans to overtake the Colts, but the Broncos may overtake all of them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't either. We'll find out.
On that note, we're going to also cover the NFC playoffs right after this commercial break. Don't go away. It's Too Late with Alan Mosley is proudly supported by Fox & Sons Coffee. Fans of It's Too Late use code ITL and receive 18% off orders of $25 or more. Shipping's always free on orders over $37.99, so get yours today at their website, which is www.foxandsons.com. It's www.foxandsons.com. I know, I do too. I've long been an advocate of, I think the Super Bowl should go all the way around the country to different stadiums each year, not just always Miami and Arizona, which means let's go play in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I know. I mean, teams have to do it, just so you might as well do it in the Super Bowl. All right. We're going to take a quick look at the NFC playoff picture, which admittedly is not really quite as muddy as the AFC. Yet your division leaders and your teams at the top are definitively at the top.
Yes.
Of course, the Eagles, 10-1, best team in the NFL right now. So obviously they're at number one. The 49ers, a lot of people think the 49ers might be the best team, but we can't just ignore that they went on a 3-game losing streak. 8-3 is certainly not a bad record, but that puts them 2 games back on the Eagles. But hey, they're going to win their division. The Lions, 8-3. Oh, that's an ugly loss on Thanksgiving. Ugly loss on Thanksgiving, but hey, they're still in there. That's also true. Now, of course, we're going to go ahead and kill it right there to bring up our first division. Let's look at that NFC South of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Atlanta Falcons, and the New Orleans Saints.
We're in the hunt, baby.
If the season ended today based entirely on tiebreakers, the 5-6, a losing record Atlanta Falcons are the 4th seed, the bottom division winner. By the way, just as an aside, it is mathematically possible for a 8-9 NFC South winner to host the 14-3 Dallas Cowboys. For the love of God, just keep the divisions for games, but then seed the playoffs. I don't know. Yeah. Just seed the playoffs. Just run the ball. Just 1 yard. Just seed the playoffs. All right. Anyway, so you've got the Atlanta Falcons currently in there, based mostly on the fact that they just beat those New Orleans Saints. If Derek Carr didn't throw a pick 6, we would be having a totally different conversation. But what happened. And then, of course, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are technically all the way down at number 11. And I know it's easy to laugh and say, yeah, in the hunt, baby. But yeah, right. But the fact of the matter is they still have a chance to win their division.
They do. They've still got games against Atlanta. They've got another game against New Orleans, and they've got 2 against the horrible Carolina Panthers. So
again, it's one thing to say that you don't want to play competitive teams. You want to have cupcakes if you want to win a bunch of games, but you also need the teams above you to lose. That's a perfect schedule for the Bucs if the Bucs were destined to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, could you imagine?
Maharrey will be uncontrollable.
All right. In that case, I want like the 7-10 Tampa Bay Buccaneers to host the 14-3 Dallas Cowboys. All right, let's also, so again, looking at those the bottom end of the in the hunt, you have the Seattle Seahawks are currently in only with a 6-5 record. They're obviously not going to win the division over the 49ers, but the LA Rams, The LA Rams, which is another team, kind of like the Broncos, which you thought after about 5 or 6 weeks, like, well, this season's over. Time to move on. Stafford's old. He's old. Hey, who am I to make fun of the Rams? They sold out for a Super Bowl and they got one.
Yeah.
So the mission accomplished, but the experiment is over. Kind of sad to see that they're sort of wasting the end of Aaron Donald's career with mediocre play. However, the Rams are now 5-6 after a few wins, and the Seahawks have fallen to 6-5. This is another one of those where one team probably gets in, the other team is probably out. The Seahawks currently are up by 1, but the Seahawks have lost a couple of games, including to the Rams. Right. The Rams are only 1 game back and currently have wins over the Seahawks. So what do you think?
I don't know what to make of that. And I'll be honest with you, I've not watched either of the two teams. Again, if you're kind of looking at trends and momentum, I think maybe the Rams have a little bit on their side. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe neither one of them.
Well, neither one is a possibility, and we'll get to that in a second. So for the Seahawks, they have back-to-back losses. They got absolutely skunked by the 49ers, but the week before that, they also lost to those same Rams. Right. The Seahawks are currently in the pole position, but listen to their upcoming schedule. Cowboys, 49ers, Eagles.
Yikes.
Woo! Now, hey, you win those 3 games, not only are you getting in, maybe you still do win the NFC West. Who knows? Yeah. But if those are 3 losses, which is a high probability, they're staring at just losing the playoffs altogether. You compare that to the Rams, who just had a win over the Seahawks. They do have the Browns next, but the Browns don't have a quarterback.
Right.
They have the Ravens after that. That's going to be a tough game.
Tough one.
Then they have the Commanders.
Yeah.
They have a Saints team that's below them in the standings. They have the Giants before they have their final game with the 49ers. Both teams have a couple of really tough games, one of them apiece being with the 49ers. The Seahawks have far and away, and that was just their next 3. They also have the Steelers a couple of weeks after that.
Yeah.
So of current polling playoff teams, they have the Cowboys, 49ers, Eagles, Steelers left on their schedule, currently nursing a 2-game losing streak, 1 to the Rams. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and predict that the Seahawks are done.
I did not realize that they had that schedule. You're absolutely right.
Seahawks fans are saying, stop the count. All right, and finally, we're going to take a look at the NFC North. In particular, the Lions have a control of the division. They're going to be in. If the season ended today, the Minnesota Vikings, led by Astrodobs, would actually be in the playoffs. Now, it doesn't help that after leading them to a couple of wins, he's also led them to a couple of losses. Mm-hmm. Hard to judge him too harshly for that, considering he got there 5 minutes ago, and he's only 500, and they still could have won the games they lost. But his play has leveled off. He's regressed to the mean a bit, and we're coming to the toughest part of the season. The Green Bay Packers, on the other hand, very similar to the Rams. They're a 5-6 team. They do actually have tiebreakers over both the Saints and Rams due to head-to-head. So the Green Bay Packers are, if you think that the Rams are a close but not quite team and the Seattle falls out, it would be the Packers passing them.
Yeah.
Now, if in case you're wondering, for remaining schedules, the Green Bay Packers, which are a half game behind Minnesota right now, they do have the Chiefs next. Then they have Giants, Buccaneers, Panthers, and then they have the Vikings. So they will play. These 2 teams will play one more time the next to last week of the season before they finish with the Bears. The Vikings, on the other hand, who are nursing a 2-game losing streak, they have the Raiders without a head coach, the Bengals without a quarterback, and then they do have, but they play the Packers in between both games with the Detroit Lions. So a little tough.
You definitely got to like the Packers, their schedule there. And, the Minnesota's kind of been a confounding team all year, because even early in the year with Cousins, you had 1 minute they'd look like gangbusters, and the next minute they'd look like garbage. So I think that's kind of their MO.
Yeah, well, they're getting healthier. Addison has been shouldering the load. because Jefferson has been out. He's coming back, and they have some decisions to make on whether or not they're going to roll with Dobbs for the rest of the year. Or are they going to try somebody out? Kirk Cousins isn't coming back.
No.
Here I am saying which teams they're playing that don't have a quarterback. Technically, the Vikings don't. It's amazing what Dobbs has been able to do, but he's not their starting quarterback.
Right.
Well, for now, who knows? This is another situation, Mike, where I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like all of these teams are going to go to the playoffs and get knocked out immediately.
Oh yeah,
that's the tough thing. The top 3 to 4 teams in the NFC are far superior to the next 3 to 4 teams in the NFC.
Absolutely.
Anyway, on that note, Mike, it's time to get on your solemn face. It's time for In Memoriam. We remember a player, a team, a coach, whoever, whose sporting life was cut tragically short. Mike, who are you remembering this week?
Well, today I'm remembering former Houston football coach Dana Holgorsen. He was unceremoniously fired after an unimpressive Big 12 debut for the Houston Cougars. They ended up going 4-7. I think they only won 2 games in the conference. Apparently moving up to a bigger conference isn't as easy as you might have hoped. But we don't have to cry too hard for Holgorsen because he's going to earn around $14.8 million not coaching the Cougars.
Wow. Go ahead and shoot a puck to the head of freaking Houston Cougars. We also have former Panthers head coach Frank Reich. How this for poor Frank Reich. He's the first coach in NFL history to have been fired in back-to-back mid-season in year 1. He was fired by owner David Tepper, who people are calling Dan Snyder 2.0. By the way, owner David Tepper of the Carolina Panthers today in the media claimed that he was a patient man. But of course, Frank Reich wasn't the first NFL head coach to be fired this year. That, of course, goes to homeboy Josh McDaniels there.
Yeah.
But hey, if you're going to fire 3 coaches in 3 years, then Carolina becomes the team where if you're the consensus top draft pick, you say publicly where everyone can hear you, don't draft me. I'm not playing for you.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, who are they going to get to coach? Who wants to coach for a team that fires all their coaches midway through the first year?
Somebody desperate for a coaching job.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to move on to the picks. This week we got 5 games because we're picking the major college football conference championships. Starting with first game of the year, we're doing them in order of as they're going to happen. The Pac-12 title game, the number 5 Oregon Ducks are taking on the number 3 Washington Huskies. Listen to this, Mike Maharrey. Washington beat Oregon during the season to finish 12-0 and number 1 in the Pac-12, currently ranked number 3 in the country. And yet Oregon is a 9.5-point favorite.
I know, right?
What do you think?
I'm going with the Huskies to cover that 9.5. In fact, I think the Huskies will win outright. I think they're just a little bit better football team than the Ducks, but
it's interesting. They're basing this a lot on the fact that Oregon really finished the season strong, whereas Washington there's pressure when you're the team on top and you got a target on your back, and they felt that pressure, but they won those games. So there's been plenty of years where teams that went on to win bowl games, win even national championships, limped to the finish line.
Absolutely.
So this is a tough one to pick. Mike and I are picking based on spreads. Man, 9.5 points is too much to give up.
That's a big, yeah.
9.5 points to the number 5 team in the country. Number 3 team. I'm going to take Washington. You know what? I'm gonna go halfway against you. I'm gonna say Oregon does actually win, but Washington will cover that spread. All right. Finally, we're moving on to the Big 12 title game. The number 18 Oklahoma State Cowboys, which are 14.5-point underdogs in their conference title game, to the number 7 Texas Longhorns. Mike Maharrey, if you're wondering why that is, it's because Oklahoma State had a 13-point win over a team that just fired their head coach that you just talked about. They needed double OT to beat unranked BYU, and they lost 45-3 to an unranked UCF team. That's why they're 14.5-point dogs. What do you think?
That's such a big number, and it normally I would not pick a team with that big of a spread, but I think Texas is probably going to cover it because Oklahoma's just not on the right trajectory. And dear God, UCF.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think actually, because you know me from the years of doing the sunken cost money pit, I tend to stay away from games with big point spreads because just why tempt that fate?
Right.
But I actually would take Texas minus 14.5. I think Texas blows them out because Texas wants to send a message that, hey, if other teams lose, you should move us up to the top 4. So I think Texas does still have something to play for.
Yeah, for sure.
We're moving on to, oh man, it's a SEC title rematch from a couple of years back. The number 1 Georgia Bulldogs, they've basically been number 1 all season. 12-0. They're taking on the number 8 Alabama Crimson Tide. You want to talk about big spreads versus small spreads. In this game, they only have it at 5.5 points. Georgia is a 5.5 point favorite, playing, of course, in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where they hold the SEC title games. Georgia had so many years where they weren't really an SEC title contender that they were just wasting getting to play home games for the SEC title game. So anyway, Georgia, Alabama, what do you think?
This may surprise some people, but I'm going to pick Alabama to actually win this game outright.
Oh!
I've watched Georgia a number of times. I think they're vulnerable. I don't think they're definitely not as good as they've been the last 2 seasons. And Alabama is a team on the upswing, and their quarterback is playing well. Granted, they had a tough time with Auburn, but that game is just weird anyway. So I think Georgia's going to lose this one. I think it's their time to fall off of that throne.
I will give you this. Both teams are kind of coming into this game in a weird place. Alabama needed an absolute miracle to beat Auburn. Although Alabama would have still won the West had they lost that game. So they would have still been in this game, but obviously with a little bit of tarnish. Georgia had a 1-possession win over 6-6 Georgia Tech. I don't think either of these teams are playing their best football.
Yeah. Those rivalry games, though, again, there's always weird things that happen in rivalry games. So
yeah, well, they call Tennessee and Vanderbilt a rivalry game too, Mike. But weird things aren't supposed to happen.
Well, there was some weird things for sure.
Well, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm actually going to say Georgia. So I think this is going to be one of those years where everyone shakes their head and says, oh, this is the year that someone finally gets Georgia. They replace so many people. Back is not Stetson Bennett. The consistency's not there. And then what are they going to do? They're going to win out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Georgia.
All right.
We're moving on to, boy, you want to talk about a game with no drama at all. Last week was great. This week is the number 2 Michigan Wolverines, who won the big matchup last week against Ohio State. Didn't even need their signs to do it. They're taking on the number 16 Iowa Hawkeyes. Mike, I'll let you make your pick first. I just want to say really quick while I'm thinking about it. Iowa is the team every single year where you think to yourself, if only they had an even mediocre offense.
Right.
If they were 40th in college football on offense, they'd be the best team you've ever seen, and they just can't seem to do it.
Well, looking at this, I think Michigan wins. I don't think there's any question about that. But
21.5 points.
That's a lot of points. And with Iowa having, they do play defense. I'm going to give them that. It's at Iowa. Not an easy place to play. So I think Iowa actually covers that spread.
So 21.5 points is a lot. And I know that you're thinking, well, look, on paper, Michigan's a way better team. Michigan plays just as good of defense as Iowa does, plus they have a great offense to go along with it. So that's why they're such a big favorite. The thing about Iowa is they really only had one absolute clunker. They had a 31-0 loss to Penn State. That's a really bad loss. That was all the way back that was in September.
Yeah.
Since that time, they had one upset loss where their defense only gave up 12 points. They just lost the game because their offense can't score 13. But look at these other games. 13-10, 15-13, 22-0. These are all victories. 10-7, 15-6, 2014, 26-16, 41-10, 2013, 24-14. They very rarely give up 3 touchdowns, much less lose by 3 touchdowns. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I could see this being a game where Michigan's just a little flat after last week. They win easily, but easily is not 21.5 points.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm actually going to pick Iowa to cover. If only there were moral victories, Hawkeyes.
Yeah.
And finally, the last one we have that has drama, but for the wrong reasons. You have the number 14 Louisville Cardinals, who are 2.5-point underdogs. They're calling it close against the number 4 Florida State Seminoles. Mike, has there ever been a top 4 team 1 week away from the playoffs that seemed less convincing than Florida State?
I know. And I kind of feel bad because history, I've hated Florida State, but this year I've kind of been, they're the only decent team in the state. So I've kind of been following them and pulling for them a little bit. Mm-hmm. This is a tough game to call. I would have picked Louisville if I hadn't watched Kentucky actually just butt stomp them last week. So I think I think it is going to be a close game. I think Florida State's a little bit better across the board. I think they're going to win it, but I think it could be close.
I think that there's not going to be the agent of chaos in me who loves mayhem says I want to see Florida State finish the season undefeated, going into the final ranked in the top 4, just to force the committee to drop an undefeated team because they don't like that their quarterback got hurt. It raises the questions of, should the voters be voting based on who got hurt? I mean, if they finished the season 13-0 and win their conference and they were in the top 4 going in, why would they not be in the top 4 going out? So I want to force the committee to prove to the world just how smart/stupid they really are. But I actually think that Louisville wins. I think that Louisville wins. Last week, that loss to Kentucky's tough, but hey, I'm taking a page out of your playbook. Those rivalry games.
You're right.
Those rivalry games. Whereas Florida State needed every ounce that they had in the tank to beat a bad Florida Gators team. And let's face it, Jordan Travis isn't coming back.
No.
So I think that this is going to be a higher scoring game, and they're not going to be able to keep up. All right. On that note, Mike, do you have a final thought?
I do. We saw the little tussle there at the end of the Florida-Ottawa hockey game, and we saw the refs take control of it, and it's a good thing, I guess. But there's a part of me that misses that old-time hockey. I was actually watching videos the other day of some of the brawls back in the 70s. Mm-hmm. Back then, they would have just let everybody clear the benches and go at it. Yeah. And that's another way of solving the problem. So, I don't know. That's the old school in me. Kind of miss it.
Retro pucking.
Retro Maharrey.
Yeah. No, retro pucking.
Yeah.
I was going to say they had more hair, but I guess retro Maharrey had more hair too.
This is a fact. Much more.
All right. Guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of Sports Ball, but we're going to be back to wrap up It's Too Late right after this commercial break. Don't go away. If you're enjoying tonight's show, consider supporting the program by becoming a member of our Patreon. That's over at patreon.com/Alan Mosley. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Alan Mosley TV. You can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Alan Mosley TV. Subscribe to our YouTube page. It's youtube.com/Alan Mosley TV. If you're more of a listener than a watcher, you get us on your favorite podcasting platform of choice. That's Spotify. It's Too Late with Alan Mosley or @Alan Mosley TV. I miss Sports Ball.
It's fun. It's a good show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's way better than whatever this is.
This is a mess.
Yeah, it really is.
I like
it's
that.
It's wild because I produce Sports Ball and it turns out great.
Yeah, it's pretty tight. Multitasking and stuff.
Yeah. Dave, do you have a final thought?
Do you ever brush your tongue so aggressively that you have to like brush your teeth all over again because you kind of throw up in your mouth a little bit?
No.
You've never had that?
No.
It might just. I should probably calm down. Oh, need to fix. There you go. It's like one of those Blade air freshener things that just fires off a scent once in a while.
After party? I'm super tired.
I know. Well, yeah, I'm in the middle of a 60-hour work week, so
yeah,
maybe quick.
Oh! I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of a 60-hour work week, so
we don't have
maybe real quick. See, this is why you have a problem, because you let yourself get talked into things, and
yeah, you don't even have to try.
Yeah. Celeste, why do you need the list? That Derek said he was doing it. He was taking care of it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well now we're doing an after party because we have to talk about
we gotta
the
get
Little
this
Debbies. Yeah, we gotta get it all squared away. So, okie dokie. That's all right. We'll go over the list really quick in the after party, which is going to happen now.
Damn it.
Guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of It's Too Late, and we will see you next week. Take your time, Dave. Jesus Christ.
Wrong one.
It's just over and over again. I tell you what, next week you host the show and I'll be the producer.
Dude, I think I hit 2 buttons and I don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh God, should I be ready? Like, should I have my hand on the trigger over here?
I think it's gonna be okay because the first button seemed to do the right thing. I don't know what the second button's gonna do.
Why are
I'm
there
like crossing the streams? I have the holiday edition.
Okay, but it only happens this way when you purposely put a second button next to the button that you need. Like, who does that?
Thank you.